The town of Maybrook slept in the quiet darkness of an early Wednesday morning.
So this one Wednesday is like a normal day for the whole school.
The streets were empty.
But today was different. Every other class had all their kids. But Mrs. Gandy's room was totally empty. And do you know why?
The lamps flickering softly as the clock neared 2:17 a.m. inside 17 homes.
Morning, every kid woke up, got out of bed, walked downstairs, and into the dark. And they never came.
Little children stirred, as if waking from a shared dream. One by one, they rose from their beds, moving with eerie precision. Arms outstretched before them, faces blank, they walked in silence, leaving rooms and homes behind. Doors creaked, floorboards whispered, and not a parent stirred. But not every child moved that night. In the Lilly household, Alex Lilly turned over in his bed, staring at the ceiling. His heart thumped erratically. Something about the stillness of the house made his skin crawl. He wanted to move, wanted to call out, but a strange paralysis held him back. Outside, the other children disappeared into the dark streets, swallowed by shadows, leaving only a faint trail of footprints that vanished as mysteriously as they appeared. The next morning, Justine Gandy arrived at Maybrook Elementary School, her mind heavy with lesson plans and the faint thrill of a new day. She stepped into her classroom, humming softly, only to freeze at the doorway. The room was unnaturally still. Chairs sat neatly at desks, bags untouched. Except for one. Alex Lilly sat at the front, eyes wide, staring straight ahead, hands trembling as if he had seen something he could not unsee. "Alex, where is everyone?" Justine asked, her voice calm but shaky. She stepped closer, noting the deep shadows under his eyes. They just left," Alex stammered, his voice barely a whisper. "I don't know why. I didn't go." Justine swallowed hard. Left. At night. Her mind raced, trying to dismiss the impossible. She knelt beside him, her hand brushing his shoulder. "Alex, you're safe now. Can you tell me anything? Anything at all?" Alex shook his head. "No, nothing." It was like something pulled them. By mid-morning, police officers had arrived, moving quickly from home to home. CCTV footage from each house showed the same impossible scene. The children walking in eerie unison, arms extended, faces void of expression, stepping into the darkness as if following a silent command. The investigators scrolled through the recordings repeatedly, eyes narrowing in disbelief. There were no signs of intruders, no strange cars, no footprints leading away beyond the children's own. Detectives interviewed Justine and Alex separately, but neither could provide a coherent explanation. No threats, no strangers, no evidence suggested what had drawn the children away. The town began to murmur, parents' fear growing with every unanswered question. It all culminated in a tense meeting at the school, called by Principal Marcus Miller. The hall filled quickly with worried, angry parents. Chairs scraped against the floor as the crowd murmured, suspicion heavy in the air. "She must have done something to them," one father shouted, pointing at Justine. "She's their teacher. She knows things we don't." "I didn't. I swear I don't know anything," Justine shouted back, her hands trembling. Her voice cracked, her eyes darting across the room at familiar faces contorted in fear and rage. "Calm down, everyone," Marcus interjected, raising his hands. "We are all looking for answers. Accusations will not help." But his words barely penetrated the anger. Parents continued to demand answers, their voices overlapping, accusatory. Justine stood frozen for a moment, trying to ground herself, to remember why she had become a teacher in the first place. She knew the truth. She had no answers, no control over what had happened that night. And yet, the weight of guilt settled on her shoulders like a stone, even as the mystery of the 17 missing children continued to grow. The morning after the school meeting, Justine stepped outside and froze. Her car, parked neatly in front of her house, was no longer hers. Across the metal surface, scrawled in jagged letters, was a single word, "Witch." The black paint seemed to absorb the light, an accusation that burned hotter than any fire. She touched it cautiously, her fingers trembling. No matter how hard she tried to scrub it off, The paint clung stubbornly, as if mocking her. That night, the harassment escalated. Her phone rang constantly, displaying unknown numbers. When she answered, the voices were low, deliberate, whispering threats that pressed against her mind. One caller hissed, "You saw nothing. You know nothing, but you will pay." Another laughed softly before hanging up. Sleep became impossible. Even in her apartment, the shadows seemed thicker, heavier, crawling along the walls like living things. And then she saw her. At first, Justine thought it was a trick of the light, a flash from the street lamp, a reflection in the mirror. But the woman with bright red hair appeared again, impossibly still, clinging to the ceiling of Justine's bedroom. Her eyes glinted unnaturally, catching the dim light like shards of glass. When Justine blinked, she was gone. Later, she emerged silently from the shadows by Justine's car, cutting a strand of her hair and disappearing into the night without a sound. There was a presence, a control, something that felt not human. Justine's attention turned to Alex. She watched him from a distance, peering through windows. Inside the Lilly home, his parents sat stiff and unresponsive, like statues carved from wax. Alex moved carefully among them, tending to their needs, speaking in whispers that sounded rehearsed, fearful. Every time she approached Marcus to report her observations, he instructed her to stay back, citing privacy concerns, but the unease gnawed at her. She could feel the unnatural weight in the house, a force pressing down, bending the family to some invisible will. Meanwhile, Archer Graff's life had fractured under the strain of watching the CCTV footage over and over. Every morning, he replayed the same moment. His son Matthew rising from bed at exactly 2:17 a.m., stepping forward with a blank expression, disappearing into the night. The images haunted him. He began plotting, sketching the children's movements across a map of Maybrook. Lines crisscrossed the town, forming an intricate web, and patterns slowly emerged. Each child's route seemed intentional, precise, converging toward an unknown destination. Archer's obsession deepened. He checked the CCTV repeatedly, comparing angles, timing each child's step. His work consumed him, robbing him of sleep, appetite, and peace. At night, he dreamed of the forest where Matthew had walked, shadows stretching unnaturally long. Something invisible guided them, and he could feel it, a dark presence just beyond perception. His concern grew. If someone or something could control 17 children simultaneously, how could the town hope to stop it? Back at her apartment, Justine could not ignore the escalating danger. The whispers, the sightings, the unrelenting fear, all pointed to a force beyond logic. She realized that the disappearance was not random, and the red-haired woman was at its center. The terror that had begun as a mystery had now become something tangible, something alive, and it was hunting them all. And in the shadows of Maybrook, something watched them both, Alex, Archer, and Justine, calculating, waiting for the right moment to strike again. The weight of fear and suspicion pressed heavily on Justine. One evening, she found herself at a dimly lit bar, seeking solace in the amber glow of whiskey. Paul Morgan, her ex and former officer, sat across from her, nursing a drink even though he had sworn off alcohol. Tension hummed in the air as their conversation circled the investigation, memories of past closeness clashing with the present chaos. Words were clipped, eyes wary, but the shared frustration over the missing children briefly bridged the distance between them. The moment of uneasy calm shattered when Donna, Paul's wife, appeared. Her eyes flared with recognition and rage as she confronted Justine. Words spilled like acid, accusations of betrayal mixing with the city's already thick fear. Donna's anger erupted in a sudden flurry, dousing Justine with vodka from the bar counter, drawing gasps from onlookers. The chaos left Justine shaking, humiliated, and yet strangely alert, her mind still sharp despite the storm of emotions. That night, sleep brought no relief. Justine dreamt of her classroom at midnight. The children sat at their desks, bowed unnaturally, a silence that pressed on her chest. Alex's head lifted, revealing a face painted in grotesque clown makeup. His eyes, wide and unblinking, stared straight at her, sending a shiver down her spine. From the ceiling, the red-haired woman watched, her presence impossible to ignore, silently orchestrating the nightmare. Justine awoke in a cold sweat, the lingering dread crawling over her skin, whispering that what she had seen in the dream was only a fragment of reality. Meanwhile, Paul's day unfolded into a different kind of tension. While on patrol, he had intercepted a young man named James, attempting to break into an abandoned building. James panicked and fled, only to be caught again by Paul. During the encounter, James pricked Paul with a needle, a frantic attempt to escape. Shaken but alert, Paul noticed the fear in James' eyes, and James confessed something that chilled him to the bone. He had seen the missing children inside the Lily House, unresponsive and silent. Paul's heart sank as the pieces of the puzzle began to align, but the danger lurking in shadows had only just begun to make itself known. Alex Lily's world had always been quiet, almost painfully so. At school, he was a loner, eyes downcast, avoiding the laughter and shoves of classmates, particularly Matthew, who seemed to delight in tormenting him. His parents were gentle, nurturing, and endlessly patient, their love a fragile shield against the harshness of the outside world. For a brief moment, life seemed safe. That changed the day Aunt Gladys arrived. She claimed to be unwell, needing temporary refuge with the Lily family. Her bright red hair and soft words initially suggested kindness, but a subtle unease settled over the household. Alex could sense it, a tension in the air that grew heavier with each passing hour. Soon, the true Gladys emerged. Her red hair was a wig, hiding an unnatural pallor and cold, calculating eyes. Beside her bed stood a small, living tree, meticulously tended, and around it lay strange ritual objects, twigs, braided cords, and powders with foul, pungent odors. Her control over the household was immediate and terrifying. A snap of a twig sent Alex's parents into a trance-like obedience, their faces pale, their movements stiff, as if puppets on invisible strings. Alex watched, frozen, as Gladys' commands bent his parents' will, bending them toward acts of self-harm that Alex could only barely comprehend. Fear rooted him to the spot, his heart hammering with the knowledge that resistance could invite greater horrors. Trapped in this nightmare, Alex became an unwilling participant. Under Gladys' strict orders, he collected personal items from each of his classmates, name tags, small belongings, tokens of their presence. Each object was surrendered with trembling hands, a silent contribution to a ritual that made Alex's stomach churn. He feared for his friends, for himself, and yet could not defy Gladys. Her authority was absolute, the consequences of disobedience clear and immediate. Gladys worked methodically. She mixed the collected items into a foul, steaming concoction, muttering incantations over it. The air grew thick, heavy with a metallic scent of fear and something darker, older. Alex watched helplessly as the ritual reached its culmination, the mixture swirling unnaturally in the cauldron-like vessel. Gladys' chants intensified, her voice threading through the house like a coil of smoke, wrapping itself around the children's destinies. Then, at 2:17 a.m., the ritual reached its peak. One by one, children across Maybrook rose from their beds. Their arms extended forward, faces void of expression, each step dictated by a force beyond comprehension. Drawn like moths to a single point, they walked silently, inexorably, toward the Lily House. Alex followed them reluctantly, his mind screaming with terror, heart clenching at the sight of his friends moving like puppets under Gladys' will. The night's darkness swallowed them, yet every detail was etched into the town's memory, the event that would haunt Maybrook forever. In a small, cluttered room, maps of Maybrook covered every surface. Strings and lines crisscrossed streets and sidewalks, each one representing a child's path from their home. At 2:17 a.m. Justine leaned over the table, tracing a line with her finger. Archer stood beside her, eyes narrowed, connecting the dots with meticulous precision. "Every route, it all converges here," he murmured, pointing to the Lily House. The evidence was undeniable. The children's movements were not random, they were drawn to a single destination, a place saturated with unseen power. Fear and urgency mingled in the air as they realized the ritual was not finished, it was still active, waiting. The tension escalated quickly. Marcus Miller, usually calm and commanding, entered the room, his eyes glazed, hands trembling. A strand of hair wrapped around a small twig, Gladys' gift, had been planted in his belongings. The ritual had taken hold. His voice cracked as he lunged toward Justine and Archer, a wild energy overtaking him. They barely dodged his flailing arms as he barreled into furniture, shattering chairs and sending papers flying. Panic clawed at their throats. Justine's mind raced, trying to comprehend the horror. Their ally, their protector, had become a weapon under Gladys' control. Archer grabbed a nearby object to restrain Marcus, but the man fought with the strength of someone possessed, eyes black and unseeing, his body guided by forces they could not fight directly. Amid the chaos, Justine grabbed Archer's arm. "We have to move. If we don't reach the Lily House, it won't stop with Marcus." They slipped out the back door into the cold night, hearts pounding with every step. Streetlights cast long, fractured shadows, and the air felt heavy, almost alive, as if warning them of what awaited. The closer they drew to the Lily House, the thicker the darkness seemed to grow, unnatural in its density, pressing on them like the weight of 1,000 unseen eyes. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle in the bushes, set their nerves on edge. Together, Justine and Archer reached the perimeter of the Lily property. The house loomed ahead, silent yet ominously alive. Windows glimmered faintly, reflecting the eerie glow of the moon. The children were inside, still, silent, under the spell of Gladys' ritual. The moment for confrontation had come. They exchanged a determined glance, knowing that whatever awaited them inside would test not only their courage but their very grip on reality. The Lily House was a labyrinth of shadows and whispers. Inside, Gladys stood at the center of the room, a foul concoction bubbling on the floor, chanting in a voice that scraped at reality itself. The children sat in a circle, faces blank, arms outstretched, while Mr. and Mrs. Lily moved like marionettes, their eyes glassy and unseeing. Justine and Archer burst through the front door, hearts hammering. The air was thick with tension, heavy as if the walls themselves were alive. Gladys' eyes snapped toward them, red hair wild, and she hurled a twig braided with a child's hair. The object spun unnaturally, tearing through the room with force. Papers, furniture, and ritual items flew in a storm of chaos. The floorboards creaked under unnatural weight, and shadows stretched toward Justine and Archer, clawing at them. Justine grabbed a heavy chair and swung it, breaking the ritual circle. Archer lunged at Gladys, but the room twisted around them, defying logic, walls bending as if alive. Every step felt like fighting through a storm of unseen hands and whispered threats. The chaos reached its peak as Justine shouted, "Alex! Focus! Break it!" Alex stirred, the trance loosening, and one by one, the children blinked, confusion replacing the vacant stare. Parents dropped to the floor, regaining consciousness, horror etched deep into their faces. Their first words were trembling gasps, a mixture of relief and despair, as they processed the trauma. Gladys' fury was contained, but she was not captured. With a shriek that echoed through the house, she vanished into shadows, leaving behind only the remnants of her ritual. A chill lingered in the air, unnatural and unyielding. The house was silent, but the sense of being watched remained, a thread of darkness left untied, a presence that promised she was not gone forever. Alex clung to his parents in the aftermath, relief washing over him, though fear and trauma lingered in every corner of his mind. The house was quiet now, but he could still feel the weight of Gladys' control. He reflected on the terror he had endured, the manipulation, the fear, the helplessness, and realized the strength it took simply to survive. Justine and Archer stood outside, their faces smeared with dirt and sweat. The bond between them had solidified, forged in fear and courage. They exchanged a look of mutual respect, understanding the stakes and the trust they now shared. Words were unnecessary. They knew the town was safer for now, but their vigilance would never waver. With heavy steps, they prepared to leave Maybrook, knowing the darkness they had faced might rise again. And yet, the terror was not fully gone. In the quiet corners of the town, faint whispers brushed against the wind. On a wall of the Lily House, a small scrawl appeared overnight, 217. A shadow shifted at the edge of vision, fleeting and dark, leaving the town with a lingering fear that the nightmare might return. The children were safe, the ritual broken, but Gladys' influence, subtle and sinister, remained, a reminder that some horrors are not easily defeated.